Hello there! Welcome to the fire. There's railroading a game, and then there's this story. The time the DM made my character's backstory for me, r/RPG horror stories, posted by the Elder Dogma. It was my first time playing any tabletop RPG where I actually had a character sheet. This same DM had attempted to run something resembling a 5e campaign at one point, but didn't let us roll our own dice and also didn't give us character sheets. It was painful. I think there were 4 of us there, and we all heavily protested. After about half an hour of trying, he eventually gave up. This time, however, he gave us the privilege of having our very own character sheets for a Star Wars Edge of the Empire campaign. Because of how poorly the campaign was run, I don't actually know any of the systems within Edge of the Empire very well, or how it differs to D&D 5e. I apologize in advance for my fuzziness on some of the details as a result of this. Our DM had never played Edge of the Empire either, so he was kind of winging it from his experiences with D&D. I wanted to play a Rhodian Jedi, and he said that was fine. Initially. This was in high school, so we had been planning the session for a while and working on our characters during breaks and at lunch. Beyond myself, there was some sort of assassin droid, a Twi'lek resembling something of a cleric. I have literally no idea what class or job it actually had because of how little the systems of Edge of the Empire were explained to us. And one other person who was present in the campaign, but basically never got a turn because the DM never made us roll initiative. I don't remember what his character was. I will refer to him and his character as Other Guy. As I mentioned earlier, that he attempted to run a 5e something or other where he didn't let us roll our own dice, and this was the case for the Edge of the Empire campaign as well. Anytime we had to roll for an attack or perform any sort of check or saving throw, he would roll the dice on his laptop and not let us see the result. Usually, this resulted in us rolling absolutely horribly for the entire session. Then there was the characters. For some reason, he wanted full agency over mine, but basically didn't care about any of the other characters. I think he maybe wanted the Twi'lek to have massive tits, but didn't influence it too much beyond that. My Rhodian Jedi was afflicted with a serious addiction to destics, against my own wishes. I do not remember what I initially wanted his backstory to be, but whatever it was, it didn't matter to the DM. He said I was addicted to destics, and that was that. I protested this for literal weeks leading up to the game. Like I said, this was in high school, so finding a day to actually have the 5 of us all available was a little difficult. He never relented, so I show up to the first session hoping that he'll maybe change his mind there. But no, he said I have to continue to be a drug-addicted Rhodian Jedi, and that I had to make occasional constitution saves in order to prevent me from going into relapse. I never saw any of these saves because he was rolling for me the entire time. His reasoning for forcing me to be addicted to destics? It'd be funny. That was it. He thought it would be funny for my character to be incapacitated for 90% of the game, and that's basically what happened. After an initial scrap in some bar on Tatooine, the DM told us we had to go steal a ship to get off planet because we were poor and couldn't afford a ticket for any sort of commercial transport. We had no option against this, and this is where the railroading really started. I don't remember how we got to the spaceport or whatever it was where we found the ship. I think it was literally just the party goes to the spaceport to steal a ship with no in between. And when we get there, we basically instantly initiate combat. I guess it made sense since we were trespassing, but it was still annoying that we weren't even given the opportunity to try and do literally anything else. Combat goes on for a while. The Twi'lek and the other guys secured the ship, while the assassin droid and I took care of the enemies that were attacking us. There was one guy in particular who had some sort of anti-lightsaber armor, so he took a little longer to deal with, but we finished without too much of a hassle. The two of us go over to board the ship with the Twi'lek and other guy, and upon trying to start the ship up, the DM informs me that my character wakes up in a corner of the spaceport in a very weakened state. I believe the rest of the party was also incapacitated because apparently I failed one of my constitution saves, puffed a death stick, and became unconscious, blowing the entire operation for the party. We stopped the session there and never had a second session. I'm happy to say I've since found a couple of good 5e groups and have had much better experiences with tabletop RPGs, but it was a pretty sorry introduction to the genre overall. I wasn't able to play any tabletop games for a few years out of fear that all campaigns I joined would be like that. Yeah, that's not even railroading. At that point, the DM is just writing their own story and holding the players hostage as their own audience. Plus, the whole death stick thing? You shouldn't force character notes like that onto a player, especially if they're so against it. Also, for any DM, GM, ST, or whatever out there, read the rules and materials you need to if you plan on running a game. Ugh, that's just a pet peeve of mine. And that's our story. Be sure to hit that like and subscribe button for more future content. Also, if you would kindly follow the socials posted in the description, that would be amazing. As always, be good, be great, be awesome.